Before we start, I need you to do something. Look around you. Where are you right now? What time is it? Drop it in the comments, because after you hear this story, you might not feel so safe there anymore. Let's begin. My name is Stephen Frederick, and it has been 5 years. That's how long I'd been a cop in Mineral Wells, Texas, and I still couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong with this town. Mineral Wells sat 50 miles west of Fort Worth, home to about 16,000 souls. Good people, mostly. God-fearing, hard-working, the kind who'd give you the shirt off their back. But there was something in their eyes, something they all seemed to share but never spoke about. A secret that hung in the air like humidity before a storm. After 7 in the evening, the town died. Streets emptied. Businesses went dark. Driving patrol at night felt like navigating a graveyard, the silence pressing against the windows of my cruiser. In 5 years, I'd seen things I couldn't explain, heard things that shouldn't exist. If I hadn't had my own strange experience as a child, I might have convinced myself I was losing my mind, but I wasn't crazy. The things that happened here were real, even when they made no sense. This is one of those things. 6 months after moving to Mineral Wells, I'd gotten curious about the place. Something about the way locals talked around certain subjects, the way they'd changed the subject when I asked about the town's history. So I went to the Historical Society, a small building that smelled like old paper and dust. That's where I learned the truth about Mineral Wells, or at least part of it. In 1881, a man named J.A. Lynch settled here and dug the first well. The water tasted strange, he said, but it cured his rheumatism. His wife claimed it fixed her arthritis. Word spread fast. In the 1800s, mineral water was considered medicine, and soon people were calling it a miracle. They dug a second well, then a third. A woman with dementia drank from that third well regularly. Her mind cleared. She was cured. The local kids started calling it the Crazy Water Well, and the name stuck. Crazy water, the miracle cure that flowed from the earth itself. By the early 1900s, Mineral Wells had exploded into the South's greatest health resort. Hundreds of mineral wells, bathhouses, spas, massive hotels. People came from across the country, desperate and dying, hoping the crazy water would save them. Many of them never left. They died here, in this small Texas town, far from home. Today, Mineral Wells was a shadow of its former glory, a retirement community, a tourist stop. But for those of us who lived here, who worked here, Faulkner's words felt heavier than they should. The past is never dead. It's not even past. It was my first month on the force when it happened. I was working nights, that's where rookies started, and the call came through dispatch at 12:30 a.m. Dead body. 200 Hubbard Street. The Baker Hotel. My partner and I were close. We arrived in minutes, lights cutting through the darkness. The 911 caller was gone, but the body was exactly where they'd said it would be, on the front steps. She lay sprawled across the red brick, broken in ways that made my stomach turn. Her back was shattered, spine visible through torn skin. Her head was completely crushed, a dark pool spreading beneath her. She was naked. I forced myself to look up at the building towering above us. The Baker Hotel had been abandoned since the 70s, though no one would say why. 13 stories of dark windows and decay. I scanned for balconies but found none, just windows. Old windows without modern safety features. Many of them were open, curtains moving in the night breeze. She'd fallen, or jumped, from somewhere up there. We secured the scene and called it in. Her name was Pamela Allen, 29 years old, Mineral Wells resident her entire life. She managed a local cafe and by all accounts was well liked, stable, happy. The investigative unit interviewed her friends, 3 women who'd been out with Pamela that night at a bar near the hotel. After the bars closed, they'd gone up to the 7th floor of the Baker Hotel to keep drinking. They'd done it before. The place had been abandoned for decades, and nobody cared. Then Pamela disappeared. They searched the floor and found her clothes folded neatly in room 714 next to an open window. That's when they realized what had happened and called 911. The investigators pressed for details. The friends remembered 2 things. First, Pamela had said she needed to go meet Virginia. None of them knew anyone named Virginia. They'd never heard Pamela mention that name before. Second, there were rumors around town that Pamela had been having an affair with Frank Koslow, the owner of the cafe where she worked. He was married, had 3 kids, but none of the friends had ever seen them together. The case disturbed me. Pamela had no history of mental illness, no financial problems, no reason to kill herself. And even if she had wanted to end it, why strip naked first? Why meet someone named Virginia that nobody knew? After the investigation wrapped, the case went quiet. The detectives thought it was odd, sure, but odd things happened in Mineral Wells. They had other cases to work. They closed the file. Suicide while intoxicated. Case closed. But I couldn't let it go. 5 months later, I was back at the Historical Society, digging through old manuscripts and documents. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I felt like there was something I'd missed. One story involving the Baker Hotel revolves around a woman known as Virginia Brown, a resident at the hotel who was the alleged mistress of T.B. Baker, the owner and builder of the hotel. According to legend, Virginia was upset over the affair and drunkenly plunged to her death after jumping from the 13th floor. Many visitors to the hotel before its closing in 1972 have reported seeing a bloody woman, sometimes wearing a red dress and sometimes nude, roaming the halls after midnight. My hands were shaking as I read it again. The document referenced another source, the hotel's guest ledger from the mid-1900s. I asked the librarian to help me find it. The ledger was massive, leather-bound, filled with decades of names and room numbers. I flipped through the pages until I found what I was looking for. Virginia Brown Room, 714. The same room where Pamela's clothes had been found. I sat there in the silence of the Historical Society, my mind racing. Pamela Allen had gone to meet Virginia Brown, a woman who'd been dead for over 70 years. She'd gone to room 714, stripped naked, and thrown herself out the window, just like Virginia had done decades before. I left the Historical Society in a daze. The Baker Hotel loomed in the distance, dark against the evening sky. What was I supposed to do with this information? Tell my sergeant that a ghost had lured a woman to her death? I'd be laughed out of the department. But I knew what I'd found. I knew it was real. Something was in that hotel. Something that hadn't left when they closed the doors in 1972. Something that was still calling people, still taking them. And I knew with absolute certainty that Pamela Allen wouldn't be the last. The Baker Hotel is still standing today, empty and waiting. The town goes quiet after dark, like it always has. The people smile their tight smiles and carry their secrets. And sometimes, late at night when I'm driving patrol, I look up at those dark windows on the 7th floor. I swear I can see her standing there, waiting for the next person who needs to meet Virginia.